1.5 minutes. Pause in the series. 1.5 minutes. Please make your way into the field. Seconds, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Please take the field.
Go, ladies and gentlemen, we are all set for the 10 o'clock time slot, and it is the Wollongong boys who'll kick us off, and the number 7. Before we get right into the match, the great Jace Stanton alongside me. Jace, how are you feeling ahead of today? It's quite comfortable at the moment, but that'll certainly change, won't it?
I think it's supposed to be a real hot one. I'm really excited to be out here in Wagga. There's so much talent on show.
And it is the number 4 who has it for Wollongong, Roche, and he has it about 7 metres out. That's the place to be. So dictating term here, Roche, the old sweeper play at the back here. Yes, they hit it the 21, dives, and I think he gets through there. Preston Hansen scores the first try. They just couldn't contain him, Jace.
It was a really sharp line there, Joel. He looked like he was going to run quite wide or laterally, and he straightened up really sharply, and a really brilliant dive to get under Canberra. So great start for the Wollongong Devils.
So tell us, for the listeners and the viewers for that matter, Jace, your background in touch.
Oh, stop it. You put me on the spot. We'll come back to that. I just played a little bit. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, a little bit at a lot of high level, that's for sure. Brody Schumacher's got the ball, and he dives through. It was the ML setup, and Jared Carey tries to claim the try, but they can't strike back. Score remains 1-0 for the Gong at this stage of the game, and because of the heat, the protocols, they'll play 11.5-minute halves. They go short side. They got the 3-on-2. But the pass behind sort of negates that situation, and Wollongong defy the Canberra Magic on this one.
Yeah, the Wollongong are traditionally stronger at this level, but so Canberra will be really hoping to sort of really muscle up, I guess, and really show they can match it with their more fancied counterparts.
One of the growing clubs, Wollongong, like Orange, like Wagga. Those sorts of teams, as we see young Oliver take off. Oh, we almost cut through Oliver McCarthy. And I know his parents, Rachel and Greg from Gerringong, they're watching on. He's been hitting the gym quite hard, has Oliver McCarthy. Here comes Magic heading towards the box. And, no one there for the 9. He says, where are you, boys? And eventually Cohen Deegan turns up. And, geez, they needed that, didn't they, Jace? It was pretty sloppy to the box and a gift.
Yeah, they needed to. Canberra just got to settle in, and you don't. I know it's game 1 for them, but you don't want to sort of be derailed too early. So Canberra looking to settle in and really get a little bit relaxed, I guess, with the whole environment and the weekend tournament.
Deegan back away to Atkins. Atkins gets the sweeping play of Roche, and he bails out of that. They lose possession. Wollongong remain 1-0 in front.
Yeah, ball control is going to be a bit of a challenge for Canberra. They're going to have to be really efficient and complete their sets. Otherwise, Wollongong's going to be able to hurt them, because the speed of play from these Wollongong boys looks to be at quite a high level here to start the game.
So here come the Gong, and it is the number 9. Oh, great speed. He gets the pass away to the 12. That came away from, well, it was wonderful stuff from Joshy Daniel, and he got the ball out the back to Jadam Lewis, and it was just pure speed, wasn't it, Jace?
It was. Canberra seemed to sort of almost lose numbers there, just trying to handle the backward speed with Wollongong's attack. And I think, was that Lewis there in the corner, a bit of gymnastics or acrobatic finish? Very good to see.
So 2-0. 2-0 Wollongong, and we appreciate your company here for the New South Wales Touch Day 1. And the Magic find themselves down by 2. The Magic so far coming from the team in the red, Wollongong. So here's Schumacher. Schumacher from dummy half. Sweeping play, and Carey gets the ball back to Schumacher. No dummy half. He actually didn't cross the ball there, so lucky to keep possession, Magic, and they hand it over 3 metres out from the goal line. The 16 touched, and that man was AJ and Lezak.
Yeah, Canberra's moved the ball quite laterally to start the game, but Wollongong, their communication, they seem to be working really well together as a team in defence. So that's a really good early sign for the tournament, Joel.
Wollongong through Zach Lewis. Just past the halfway line. Lewis again with the ball, plays the ball short and darting away on the last. So they finish on their box side. That's a strategy for most. Do you have an opinion there, Jace, as to where you like to finish at the end of the set?
I suppose generally you want to be, far corner to make it hard for them to get to their box, which is what you see Canberra's burnt 3 or 4 touches just trying to get their subs on and off. So that's generally a bit of a guideline. Obviously, there's different cases for where you want to end up, but as a general rule, you want to go far corner.
Baldwin takes off from dummy half. He tries to burn his opposing number 10. Gets past him. Baldwin, by gee, the blistering Baldwin picks up the first try for the Magic. The deficit now just 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he was possibly dummy half, so you might see this coming back,
Well,
Joel.
I thought he was dummy half.
Oh, you called it. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're ahead of me.
No, I didn't call it, but I thought he was
yeah.
dummy half, and then he sort of had me thinking about it. So
Yeah.
score remains 2-0.
It was a good run, nevertheless. He showed some speed, didn't he? It was a great run. He just sort of forgot where he was, I guess.
He did. So Wollongong 2-0. Here's McCarthy.
It's off the mark.
So no coaching. Hello to Brad Gilder, who's calling me at the moment. Short side. Yeah, this... Can I tell you something, Jace? Our team don't do box sets. It's against the tide, but I'm not personally sold how effective they are in the kids' ages.
Yeah, I was just giving you the generalisation. I don't do it.
Oh, you don't like it either?
No. I when I'm playing, I try and focus more on having a really strong finish to the set, and then getting back on side and having a really good shoot, which is where we'll all come up in a line. I think that's more important. I think sometimes you lose a bit of your attacking ability, or it's a great run down the sideline.
Down the sideline, Brady takes off, and Brady retires, and there's a new Brady in town, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Brady down the touchline, scorches the turf, 3-0. Wollongong leading the Canberra Magic.
Yeah, that was quite a soft one. Might have been a lapse in communication or concentration there by Canberra, and they're going to have to sort of improve that a little bit because Wollongong looks pretty hot here. But it just back to the drive-in sets. What I think is important is you don't want to lose your last couple touches of attacking ability to do something by saying I need to finish on one side of the field.
Gotcha.
So definitely, as you're developing as a player, you want to, I guess, initially focus on getting down there, and then some teams may want to go to the corner as a strategy. But yeah, certainly you need to have the ability to do both.
You're thinking points. So here comes Canberra. They need points. The number 2 as we approach half time. And that is Patrick Isaac. Ball goes down by Van Dalen. And Van Dalen will be asked to... He gets a penalty. They need this. They desperately need to find something here, Jace. We are looming towards half time. And Rock Van Dalen drags Wollongong out to the 7. Back to Van Dalen. Takes them on. Ooh.
That's a try.
That's a try. He evaded the number 9 for Wollongong. That was Joshua Daniel. It was beautiful work there from Van Dalen, and finally gets Canberra Magic on the board.
Yeah, and it's a really good example of how I think a lot of the younger teams need to be attacking. Sometimes the players will dump on one side of the field and try and attack the other, whereas that was a really good case where they dumped on the right side or closest to the screen and ran at the offside player and got the result. And that's a really good sign to see in our young players.
You do quite often, particularly in the younger ages, you quite often see them mostly attack the left middle and want to come back the other side. The right to left passes, don't they? So
Yeah.
Wollongong. And long ball, and it's gone forward.
Yeah, so that last one, Joel, the Wollongong defender actually made the touch, but he hadn't made the line yet. So he actually made the touch on the 7. As they were attacking at him, he's reached out and touched the ball carrier, but the referee had said you hadn't got back to the 7, and that's that advantage of running at the person that made the touch or running at the offside player, sometimes we call it, is it really puts the defensive line under pressure. So well done to the Magic.
I mentioned Tom Brady. He's retired. There's a young Brady, no relation, of course, playing him. Well, not that I know he's related. And did you watch the Super Bowl, Jace?
Only caught some highlights of it. I saw a lot of talk about the punt.
Oh, that's right. Here we go. And it was an interesting play towards the end. They purposely didn't score. They had a chance. It was all tied up. They had a chance to score, and they just didn't want to score the touchdown and then give the team a chance to respond. So in the end, they got the penalty. They kicked the field goal.
Pretty good restraint showed, wasn't it?
Oh, bloody oath. 3-1 score here. Right on half-time.
So this is an example where Wollongong's got over halfway in 2 or 3 touches. Obviously, there's an error there, but that's where you don't want to be thinking, oh, let's put it in the corner. You want to be playing footy.
Yes.
So that's sort of like to your point where it's sort of probably a bit of a trend that's coming into the game now where we're trying to encourage the young ones to play footy, but there's still that traditional, as a default, let's put it in the corner. But the more we see the attack, I think the better we're going to, the more success we're going to have.
What was your pet play, Jace?
Back when I played.
This is why I don't like box sets, personally. But each to their own, as Canberra Magic trail 3-1, but they get this gift. Yeah, sorry, what was your main play?
If they could sneak one in before half-time, it would be good. There's all different styles. I was a bit more of a direct player, so I sort of like to run at the offside player a fair bit and keep it quite in the middle. So I didn't really have a really good long ball or didn't have as much speed of some of these guys out there now, so I sort of had to rely on, a few tricks and be quite direct.
Yep.
But this is really good. He's a tight sweeper. He steps back. He's a chance.
Oh, the quarterback was on there, wasn't it?
Yep.
He was open up the middle there, and I think you'll find that was Brody Schumacher. If the ball goes to Schumacher, it was from Evan Leeson. I think it's 3-2, but score remains 3-1. Here's Schumacher now. 8 metres out, Schumacher on the 7. Plants the ball, sliding through. And you like it?
Yeah, same play. Same play. Gee, that's a great play from Canberra. It really is. Like, Wollongong got out of the blocks quick, looked quite dominant, and Canberra have come back with 2 very direct tries. Really impressive.
3-2. So it was a big challenge for them, and all of a sudden the try, or the touchdown as they call it in touch, Isaac Baldwin. He was the kid who ran from dummy half and thought he had a try.
Yeah.
Well, you finally got one, Isaac.
I still like it. He showed some good speed.
Yeah.
I still like it.
Oh, the ball goes behind. So 3-2, but just a little nervous here for Wollongong now. Half-time final play, 3-2. Tell you what, Canberra Magic.
That was unexpected, Joel, wasn't it?
Oh, they've got to be
tries.
happy. Natalie Taffs, she'd be wrapped with that, wouldn't she?
I think so. That was really good, and I thought I might give a bit of touch terminology for those you're listening, because Joel's very experienced at touch. He knows all the lingo. So a little bit of quick history. When he was talking about the quarterback, that's actually short for it's a quickie and you get it back.
Yes.
A quickie back. So you pass the ball to the sweeper or the person that's dumped, and you want it back. So it used to be called, back when I had hair in the day, it originally was a quickie, get it back, or pass, get it back.
Is that how it came on quarterback?
Yeah, said in the quickie back, and then it turned into quarterback because it was easier to say. So Joel sort of snuck that in on the run, but it's actually a good play when you're playing, obviously when you're playing footy, that you give it to the person that's dumped on the split, or you give it to the sweeper, and then you step back out laterally the opposite way and call for the ball back. So, that play that Canberra ran when the sweeper came around the back, if he'd passed it back on the quarterback, which is what Joel had very easily picked up on there, it would have been a try. So I just thought I'd give you a bit of history and terminology in case you're new to the game.
I'll tell you what, Jason Stanton, a legend of touch football, a lot of the names, and as you mentioned, quarterback, and Rooster's a popular one. So Rooster's a player that you'll see in every single game that you watch. And nearly every single team actually call it Rooster. I ran into a coach today, and I don't do this, but I'll probably think about it for next year. There's a coach who I know, and they have a play called Rooster, and it's not the Rooster. So they purposely, they go out there and call Roosters knowing that the rest of the competition knows what a Rooster is. Yep. But Rooster is actually for them a different play.
Yeah, and there are, there are some really high IQ footy players, or high IQ, sorry, not high IQ, high IQ. Some of the young ladies and some boys that play that will call the move that is very popular. The Rooster play that Joel's talking about is when, like, the middle will dump for the link, and then the other middle will come charging onto it, a bit like a settle. And, a bit of a shout out to Mark Boland. He's the one that come up with that back in the late 90s. Used to be called a bump and run. It was originally called. Parramatta and West used to run it. And then the Eastern Suburb Roosters got quite good at it. So everyone started saying, oh, the Rooster, like the Roosters run it.
Yeah.
But originally, it was bump and run from Mark Boland. So a bit of a shout out to probably one of the greatest players that we've had here in Australia.
You do take inspiration from other teams as Canberra Magic. I can't believe they trail by 1. Wollongong have been dominant, but scoreboard not showing that. We'll stay with the play for the time being, and we'll get back to... I do find them fascinating, those stories, as we see Canberra on the attack through Leeson, goes back inside, Wollongong survive. Now, we have a play, for example. We have a few variations of this thing called shark. But one variation... the Tigers do it. So we call it a tiger shark. So it's the same. You do, that's how they got the Rooster name, I suppose.
Yeah, you can build those things up. A little tip, I guess, when you're starting off or when you're playing footy, if you don't, if your whole team's not in on it or you don't want to get too complicated. I think that's a late pass you'll see here. What's a really good one is you might run, say, a quickie or a quick play, where you pass to the dummy half from the ground, or you might run a sweeper. And then what's a really good thing to do is when you get the ball back, say you haven't scored, is that you'll call the move for your team, but then you'll audibly say, same again, same again.
Oh, yes.
So you don't really need... Some teams like yours are clever and you'll have variations, but if your team doesn't have that, you can still sort of tap into that sort of trickery.
Yep.
But you might just say same again, and have them thinking you're going to run the same play again. So definitely that's coming more and more into the game as our players get more talented and I guess more clever in terms of the way they approach their footy.
Here's Wollongong to the box. Nice play. Picks up for McCarthy, who's heading to the box. That's slick work there from Wollongong, but no dummy half. So you lose momentum there. Here's the setup. They do love this play, Wollongong. They'll sweep here, I'd say. No, he's going to take off from dummy half. So he takes off from dummy half, but just getting him. And that was Joshua Daniel, who was fleet of foot. But terrific work by Jared Carey. Saves a big threat coming from Wollongong.
Yeah, outstanding defence there from Canberra. And what we're starting to see here, and this is very common at these sort of 3 day events, is you'll have a team that'll be maybe a bit anxious or a little bit off the pace to start the game. One or two things go their way, they get confident, and then it's almost like a different group of players. And you've seen that here with Canberra, where Wollongong got the first couple, and I was expecting this could be like a 9-10 nil.
Yeah, that's
type
what it looked
thing.
like, didn't it?
And now all of a sudden, it's like we're watching a different game of footy, and Canberra's only down by 1. They get another one here. All of a sudden, a lot of that nervousness swings to the other side of the field, to Wollongong.
Leeson back away to Anlazark. Anlazark dummy half. Schumacher there in the middle. Now he's had a handy game, Schumacher. You look for the sweeper. That's Leeson. Leeson back to Schumacher. That's the quarterback that he's talking about. And he'll be taken down 7 metres out. So Schumacher from Leeson. It comes away. Last play. And Wollongong pinch it 7 metres out. Score remains 3-2. But as they look into the rearview mirror, they just can't shake the magic at this stage of the game. Yeah,
Wollongong, I wouldn't say they're gone into their shell, but there's certainly, one notch down from how they started the game. And it's sort of like, if you look at the attack here, it's almost three-quarter pace type to that speed we saw early. So they're going to have to lift it up again if they want to finish on the top of Canberra.
Jace, can I ask you this question? You've played, obviously, in all different sort of formats of the game. Due to the heat policy, the State Cup has moved to, or the Southern Conference for that matter, and a lot of people from the Northern Conference would be watching this, getting a bit of State Cup fever. The half-time, so instead of having 25 minutes straight, we're having 11.5-minute halves. How does that change things?
It's huge, especially it's actually a lot more significant, I guess, than what people think. It actually brings the coaches into the game, and it actually takes a lot of the rhythm out of the game. So there are benefits, like bringing the coach into the game. You can actually settle everyone down. You can say, why don't you run this play? Why don't we defend this way? So you really get an opportunity as a coach to influence the game by having the break.
Yes.
And it also takes a bit of the rhythm out of it because everyone gets to calm down a bit. So I think at the junior level, it is a positive, obviously, from the from the safety point of view, but also allowing them to settle into games. I think at the senior level, it's it's almost like a different game of footy at times when you don't have the break.
So the voice of Jason Stanton. Here comes the magic. Could they provide magic, a magic trick, and level things up here with Wollongong, who are highly fancied to take this out, but they refuse to go away. Baldwin sets up the play. Dummy half. Away goes the number 6. Short side they want to play, and they just got him. He almost snuck through the door ajar, but forced to go back to the 7 is Van Dalen.
I think that's where the try is there, Joe. I think that's where the try is, that direct and get none of the offside player.
Van Dalen gets them back to 3 apiece.
Yeah,
and I tell you what, Nostradamus here, our man Jay Stanton, you saw it, you called it, and it happened.
I was probably a bit lucky, but very clever footy from Canberra, and that's an example of where that half-time has probably had an impact. He's probably grabbed the players and said, when you're running direct, that's when we look good, running at the offside player, and that's what we've seen there. 3-3, totally against what I thought was going to happen. So this Canberra Magic, they're making me a believer. They're turning me into one.
So McCarthy dummy half, the 5. I like this play, and it's they'll go down. Ooh, no, 6 to go. No, in fact, it wasn't. It was an error from Wollongong, so a reprieve. They can't win this, Canberra, can they, Jace?
I don't know. Can we believe? I'm scared to believe. I can't believe it. This has been such a
Do you believe in magic?
Change. Oh, it's been such a game change from those first few minutes to now. So, yeah, definitely a big eye-opener for me. Look at this Canberra team. Outstanding.
Schumacher off. Baldwin has the ball. Taking off from dummy half goes Bait up. Bait up touched from dummy half. Wollongong get the ball back. But I tell you what, it'll be a nervous old box there for the Wollongong coaching department as they drive hard. So they've picked it up a gear here. They know they've got it. That was a forward pass, by the way. They get away with that, Wollongong. And a penalty. So a big turning point in the match. If the forward pass is ruled, well, they head up the other end perhaps, but now they get the penalty, Wollongong, and a chance to take the lead back.
Yeah, it was a bit of a double swing there. Unfortunate for Canberra, but a good opportunity for Wollongong now. Settle on. They've got fresh players on now. They're settled. They've got 6 touches. Let's see what they can produce.
Daniel and Turner working things up the middle of the field. They bring in Deegan. So it is through Turner who plays the ball. He'll look back in field. And Deegan sets it up. Turner, turn around. That's what he does. Out the back to the passive Turner, but just can't handle it. Ooh, and a little bit feisty out there between Jared Turner and Connor Thorson.
Yeah, Canberra didn't need that. And Wollongong had a nice play there. So there was the bump and run or the rooster. And then rather than the outside players hitting holes, you'll notice that the player that wrapped or swept wide actually stayed quite deep. And at the moment, the language that is, we're calling that a passive because you haven't run through the active hole. You've held back. So that's that language. Again, Joel showing his very good footy IQ and experience, dropping all the terms. So I've got to keep making sure the youngins can follow.
and keep this between you and I, Jace, but that might be the tiger shark we just saw.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, if you're at home, get your pen and paper out.
That's it. Cohen Deegan, here we go. Same
now.
play again. They might have called same again, but they make the touch on Joshy Daniels. 7 metres out. They're really desperate to take the lead back here. This is probably a game, and I think the Magic people will respect what I'm saying here, but they would have banked on a win here, the Wollongong side, but they've been so gritty. Magic, can they defy the gong once more? 3-3.
Yeah, I think Wollongong have more chance of beating them a little bit wider. They're a little bit straight here. I think they're going to need a long ball to get them.
Here they come. Oh, you can't. The drop ball has cost Nostradamus from getting another one right.
Would have been 2 out of 2 there.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Canberra
it's a really good defence there by Canberra. Good scramble. Scramble.
Desperate for the box. See, going off the mark, they were heading to the box in a great fashion. They're probably going to get there in 4 now, maybe 5 the way this thing's looking. That's 3. They'll play the back. This is going to be 4. And that's what happens. That's what happens. Look, I'm not a box believer, but I think you've got to have an alternative sometimes.
So what's the game plan to beat the Sharkies, Joel? I've got some notes here on my pad.
Yes.
You're not going to go to your box. You're going to run
we sub. we sub, but we don't do the traditional box play.
I'm only stirring you up.
No, that's okay.
But we're starting to form how to beat the Sharks here.
That's it. I'm telling the right bloke the wrong stuff, I think, as Wollongong have the ball. They need to take the lead back. Daniel trying to craft something. Turner takes off. They have the numbers. They have the numbers. And Nostradamus, I tell you what, It may have been a minute too late from your prediction, but eventually you wanted the long ball. They got the long ball, and they score in the corner to the Wollongong side. I think Jackie Aikens might have picked that up. He did in the corner, Jack Aikens. So 4 points to 3, 4 touchdowns to 3, and a lot of relief in the Wollongong box.
Yeah, there's a minute or so to go. So it'll be interesting to see whether Canberra can reflect back on the last 20 minutes of the game and run, whether it's a quick release or a sweeper or what you call the ML, the charging onto it. See if they can finish with one of them to try and get a draw.
Why the ML? How'd they come up with that? Is it related to middle link or what's the? Do you know what the background behind that is?
Middle link. It was there was a few people. You sort of, I don't know if I want to bore everyone with the history. So that one's like a 2009 Australian men's team come up with that. So it's essentially it's actually it's a middle. It's actually a middle dump with the link coming onto it like a rooster.
Yep.
So originally it would have been MML, and then we got a bit sick of that and called it ML. But that's originally what it is, a middle dump with a link running a bump or a link rooster.
Let's stay with the play. Magic have pitched one back, and I think they're going to pinch a draw. Riley Baitup has scored a very important touchdown for all the Magic. This has been remarkable. If they can hold on here. How long have we got, Jace?
I think it's only about 10 seconds, only a couple touches. This has been a great example of touch footy and skill. It's just so entertaining to watch it. I hope you're enjoying it at home.
Desperate stuff here for Wollongong. Make one touch, you get the draw, Magic. They take them on. Wollongong, they do. So that is a very, very important one competition point for the Magic. Wollongong, 4-all. They took an early lead. They were coasting. Our man Jay Stanton thought he was looking at maybe it was a 7 or 8 point gap, but crafty work, and congratulations to Canberra Magic, Natalie Taffs and Adam Leeson to guide them to a draw. But you do get that as a coach, and for Wollongong, they'll bounce back bigger than ever. But sometimes you have those 1 or 2 games throughout a tournament where things just didn't click, and for Wollongong, I think that may have been the case here. 4-all in this one. Wollongong have a draw with Canberra Magic. More to come in a few minutes' time.
Just want to give a quick shout out to our friends from GYG who've partnered with us.